let me ask you. Yeah. Also, when you look at the list, I go on one slide back. What is important to you? Yeah. I mean, you can think about this. Yeah. Many of these things here appear on this slide as well. But what is important to you? Yeah. I don't expect an answer here. Right? But I think that every employee, every person, should have an answer to this question. What is important to me? For some of you, it's really important to have security. A safe workplace. Security. It's not that you want to become rich, but you want to be sure that you can pay the house, the car, family in the next 10, 20, 30 years. And nothing will happen. Some of you will say, the most important thing to me is the location. I don't care about my job, or I want to stay in Dohingen. Yeah, or in, some of you will say, if I have good peers, colleagues which I really like, if I feel that I work in a great team, then anything else does not matter to me. As long as the peers are great, that's fine. So, preferences are different from people to people. So, the different things here, the preferences are indicated in different sizes, which refers to the relevance of a person. Yeah? For some person, relevance is high or something. For some people, relevance is low. And what you see on this picture is a relative job evaluation for one single person. Okay? It's of one single person that compares the current job with an alternative job. So let's think again about Bernd. Bernd is working at Bosch in the purchase department. And Bernd got an offer from, let's say, Trumpf, working at purchase at Trumpf. Now, this employee must compare the current job with all the current environment with the alternative in the other company. Okay? And now this is the map, the prioritization map or evaluation map of this one single person. Okay? And this looks different for every employee, and it always depends on the kind of job we talk about. So, the first thing is, to Bernd, different things are of different importance. To Bernd, the peers are very important, the task, security is not so important. Also, work-life balance, salary, it's of middle importance. Yeah. Work-life balance. Yeah. Then, this employee will compare the current job with the alternative job. And for some things, Bernd will say, well, image is better, yeah, the perspectives are better, but some other things might be similar or worse. So this is just a comparison of different things between the current job and the alternative job. This is dimension number 2. Dimension number 3 is certainty. It's very important in this particular context. If you have a job in, let's say, Schwenningen, and the alternative job is in Munich, how sure can you be that Munich is an attractive place? Huh? You can be pretty sure. You just go there. Yeah, you can see it. Munich. Hey, it's Munich. If I ask you, okay, you have a job here in Schwenningen, and now you get an alternative in Munich. How is it with your peers? How sure can you be that you will be fine with your peers in the alternative company? How sure can you be? Sorry? No one knows. You don't know. Maybe you know one person or so, but you can't be sure whether you will really have a good relationship with your peers. With a company image, if you work in Schwenningen and you get an offer at Munich at BMW, how sure can you be that BMW has a good image? How sure can you be? Very sure, you know it. BMW has a good image. You know it right from, you know it. So there are some things which are quite sure, location, the image, but there are a lot of things where you really tap into darkness. You don't know how it will be. And that's the risky thing about changing a job. Will my boss be good? Will my peers will be fine? How will be my task? Maybe I have an idea. Okay, there is a job description. What will I end up doing in 2-3 years in this company? Here I know it, but there I don't know. So some things are sure and some things are not so sure. Okay? So these are the 3 dimensions. How important are the different things? How are the different things with the alternative job compared to my current job? And how sure can I be that things will be better or worse? How sure am I? These are the things that all get together in building my decision. And now it comes to the point. We know from science that one of the most important things at least for your generation, are the peers. The peers, your colleagues. Yeah, that's very, very important to you. If you go well with your peers, that makes you stay with the company. Yeah, we know that one of the best things companies can do to retain their people is let them become friends. Yeah. Let build social relations inside the company. They have the social relations that really retains the people. Yeah. So peers, we know it, are very, very important. Also the boss, it's very important. We know this from research that the boss is a very important factor with regards to whether I stay or not with my company. If you hate your boss, you're gonna have really hard times. If you love your boss, you can have the best time in your life. So, now, the thing is that some things which are very important to people are typically also those things which are very uncertain. Okay? Here you have the biggest risk. It's always. You never know about the peers in another company. You never know how it's going to be with the boss in another company. So the really important things very often are those things which are really unsure. You have a low level of certainty. While those things where you have really a high certainty, and these are locations, company image, are very often those things which are not of the highest priority for the people. Yeah? So, and that explains one quote which I mentioned earlier. People join companies and leave bosses. And that's probably true. Yeah? I join companies because of the image, location. These are the things which I'm really sure about. Yeah? And where I very often know that, okay, it's better than with my current employer. That makes me change my job. Yeah? And at the end, I leave because of peers and boss. Okay. So, to put it a little bit more simple, this is more the academic approach to this, to summarize it a little bit. What we believe what people do is they compare their current job, the value of their current job, taking together all these things we just talking about. Perspective, salary, peers, boss, security, work-life balance. We sum all these up, the value, the subjective value, of the current job with the alternative job. If we feel that the value of my current job, is higher than the value of any other job, I will stay anyhow. If I feel that the value of my current job is the best one compared to others, I will stay. If I feel that there is an alternative job with a higher value, better perspective, more interesting tasks, better reputation, better image, and so on. If I feel that the value of an alternative job is higher than the value of my current job, I start think whether I should take this other job. But it does not necessarily mean that when I feel that the alternative job is really better, that I instantly change my job. I will not do so. There is a second point, which comes into play, which is the value of change or the cost of change. And this relates to the risk. Changing a job is risky. Changing a job is costly. You have to build new relations. You don't know how you will end up with your peers. You don't know whether you're going to work out with your boss. You're not sure about a lot of things. And these all relate to the cost of change. So people do not change the job once they think that the alternative job is better than the current job. They also compare the difference of the value with the cost of change. And if the cost of change is bigger than the difference, you will stay. Okay, it's a very rational perspective on this. That's the academic theory on this. And when we talk about how is the value and how is the cost of change, then again this picture applies. Okay. One last thing, the psychological point. We find very different turnover decision styles. Very different. And I used to categorize the different decision styles along with two different dimensions. The first dimension, elaboration, is something which you know from marketing. You know that in marketing we also talk about, or in consumer behavior, we talk about different decision-making styles. One style is you buy something very spontaneously, and for other things you really think very intensively which product you want to buy. You remember the name for these two different decision styles? How do we name this? Is it high involvement, low involvement? Something like this. Yeah. If you buy a toothbrush, you go to the store. Where is my toothbrush? Here. If you buy a car, or if you buy a digital camera, maybe, whenever you feel that the impact of your decision making is significant, you start to think. You compare different products. Some of you take days to compare different products very intensively. You have an Excel list. You compare different criteria. You really think it through to come up with the final decision about one specific product, knowing that this is the best one for me. That's high involvement. Low involvement, don't think a lot, just spontaneously, I'll buy this product. High involvement, you think very intensively. And this is the same here. We know that some people have a high involvement decision making when it comes to career decisions. Yeah, that's meant by high elaboration. Elaboration, cognitive elaboration, is a psychological term for how intense I think about something. So some people really think their career through. Yeah, they think for days and weeks whether they should change their career or not, and in which direction they should go. And while others make a more spontaneous career decision. Yeah? The other dimension is what drives me. What is the source of my motivation? And there I see two different things. One thing is my current situation. I changed my career because of my current situation. I hate my job. I want a new job because I hate my current job. Or say, what makes me change my career is the future situation. When I became a professor, many people asked me, hey, what the hell? Why do you leave SAP? I mean, SAP is a great employer. Yes, it is. How can somebody leave SAP? I said, what drove me was not my current situation. It's not that I left SAP. I loved my future perspective. Yeah? It's not that I left something. Yeah? I walked towards something. I love to become a professor. So, what drove me is not that I left SAP. I wanted to become a professor. So there are people which are very much driven by the current situation, and they want to do something different from what they do now, whatever that is. And for some people, they have a plan, they have a perspective, they want to go somewhere. Yeah. So when we take this together, yeah, I see four different styles. One is low elaboration, current situation drives me. That's simply escape. Flucht. I escape. I don't think a lot. It's just that I can't stand working on this job one more day. And everything must be better than this. I don't think a lot. And I just want to do something else. Full stop. Don't think a lot. What drives me is that I can't stand my current situation. Yeah? The other extreme is here, strategy. Think about an employee. Think about Bernd. Bernd is knocking at the door of his boss. Say, boss, I have to tell you something. Okay, Bernd, what is? I quit my job. Oh. And then he tells, you know what? I will go to the States. I have a great opportunity there. You know, I worked in different departments here. I worked in purchase, I worked in controlling, I worked in HR. And now I get the opportunity to turn to the business side. I got the opportunity to become a key account manager in a totally different industry in the States. I really thought this through. I talked to my friends. I talked to my family. I even talked to my mother. I took some advice from people I really believe in. And from everything I learned is that this is the best option for me. I should really do this. This will complete my CV, and I should do it now and not in 5 years. Now it's the best time to take this opportunity. Yeah? If an employee like Bernd acts this way, what can you do to retain this person? Nothing. You can do nothing. You just can say, congratulations. Obviously, you have thought it through. You are very safe in what you do. You seem to have a plan. Yeah, and I see that you really have reasons why you go this direction. This is what I name a strategy. They have a strategy, a personal career strategy. Yeah? Okay? There are also people which are not driven by the future situation, but by the current situation, but still think very intensively what to do. For instance, your partner got a job in the States and you want to follow. and the current employer does not offer jobs there. Yeah, or you have some health issues in your family, or you have to take care for your parents, yeah, because they got older. You get the third child, and you want to balance your private life with your work life, but you feel that with your current job you cannot cope with this situation. You have to change the job because you have to solve a problem, a private problem. You have to follow your partner. So that's what I name a solution. It's simply you change your job because changing a job is the solution for very often a private situation. Okay. No, you cannot do a lot here. Yeah. We know people who don't think a lot, yeah, about their career decisions, but they are very much attracted by alternatives which they are offered. We call them job hoppers, job hopping. I always think that, wow, I got an offer for a different job. I can't say no. And it's not that, it's really, I am attracted by this new opportunity. I don't think a lot whether it's really the right step for me, but just the mere fact that I'm offered a new opportunity attracts me so much that I can't stand not to say no. Yeah. Okay? Jürgen Klinsmann, typical example. Jürgen Klinsmann, I read his biography. He didn't have a plan, not at all, in his life. Whenever he got an offer for something, working as a coach, working as a football player, he took it. Yeah, he just did it. He never worked longer than 2 years on any position. So he just followed the things he were offered. That's job hopping. Yeah? No strategy behind, always driven by the opportunities which I get. Okay? So today I would like to share with you some thoughts about what companies concretely can do. Today we talk about real actions, strategies. So to start with a very fundamental, very simple approach, I would like to talk about the so-called exit interview. You should know what this is. When you ask a company, what do you do as part of your retention strategy? You can ask any company out there. Let's talk about retention. Can you name any action, any measure you have in your company that somehow deals with retention? They probably will say, yeah, we do exit interviews. It's a very simple idea. The exit interview is once an employee has quit his or her job, and an interview takes place, done by HR or an external third party, and it's just about finding out why the employee has left, why the employee has quit his or her job. And what you find here is a typical example of Intel. What was the main reason that you decided to leave? Is your new position in a different line of work than the one you were in while at Intel? How would you characterize your new employer? And so on. These are all questions around why do you leave? Why have you quit the job? What is better with the new job compared to the current job? What was wrong with the current job? So it's about understanding the motivation of the employee and understanding the conditions of the current job which made the employee quit the job. Okay, here, would you say your new employer is better than Intel, about the same as Intel, or not as good as Intel in terms of, and then all these things show up, yeah, pay, benefits, location, and so on. So, I mean, that's simple. Why do companies do this? It's easy. To understand why people leave, right? It's a diagnosis tool. It's an analysis tool. It's about understanding the motivation of people why they leave. That's it. And the ultimate intention why companies do this is they think, okay, whenever we talk about people, why they leave, once we have understood why people leave, maybe we can change the workplace, the conditions, the environment, whatever, to avoid future turnover. That's the simple idea. The big problem with this approach is what? What's the problem with that? I mean, the idea is simple, but what would you say? Wow, that's great. That really solves the problem.
Maybe your ex-employee doesn't tell you the actual reason for his leaving, but
So does he actually tell the truth, right? Yeah. I mean, that really depends on who the interview is conducting. Is it a third party or is it HR? If this is done by the actual manager, that would not lead to valid results, of course. Okay, yeah. Does the employee really tell the truth? I mean, is the employee, in bracket, who has quit his job, is he motivated really to tell the truth? Yeah. Or will it be rather a kind of excuse or something else? Yeah. Another approach. That's a different example. That relates to a company like Microsoft, for instance. They have done a different approach. And this is really commonly used. Just imagine, you ask the people in a company questions like we have discussed related to employee survey. You ask the people, how happy are you with your salary? How satisfied are you with the work-life balance? Do you see any perspective inside the company? How is the cooperation with your peers? Are you satisfied with the training opportunities? Are you happy with your task? And so on. So different things which we believe that they might have an impact on retention. Okay? These are all factors which we already have discussed, and we know that these are definitely drivers for retention. If these things are fine, people rather stay. If these things are not in a good shape, the people rather intend to leave. Okay? This is the fundamental idea. But we know that these different factors have a different impact on whether people stay or leave. Okay? So the question is, how important are these different things? Is it salary or is it training? Is the peers who really impact my decision to stay or to leave? And there is an additional question some companies ask their people. It's about the intention to leave. A typical question here is, do you consider leaving the company in the next 12 months? Yeah? Do you seriously consider leaving the company in the next 12 months? That's a very simple question which you can ask the people. And we know from research that those people who say yes to a question like this will leave the company with a very high probability. So this question, do you seriously consider leaving the company in the next 12 months, is a really valid question. It tells something. People who say yes will probably leave the company. So, with these data, having the evaluation of all these factors and the answer to the intention to leave, we can run a statistical analysis that tells us how important are these different factors with regards to the intention to leave. And the name of this statistical analysis is multiple regression analysis. You might have heard about this statistical method before. Maybe some of you have learned some huge formulas around this analysis method. It's complicated. I would never expect that you can calculate something like this. Yeah, that's really difficult math. doing something like this with a statistical program is quite easy. You can do it something like this with very few clicks. What you get is a huge formula, which is indicated on the bottom of the slide. Y is equal to, and then you find some beta weights, along with these different factors. And at the end, we simply look at the beta weight. If the beta weight is high, that tells us that this factor is highly relevant towards intention to leave. Okay? That's a quite simple idea. And if you ask me, where do companies use multiple regression analysis? Really in practice, then retention is definitely one area where this method is extensively used. So, as I mentioned, Microsoft did something like this. They used a lot of questions on the left side. They considered a lot of potential factors, and then they found out that there are some factors which are really of high relevance with regard to intention to leave, and those factors are now taken, selected, and put together into one single questionnaire. And at Microsoft, this is named the Organizational Health Index. You must not remember this, but just to mention this, Organizational Health Index, that's a list of questions of which we know that these questions reflect factors that have a high impact, high relation on intention to leave or to stay. Once you have these, then you really have an instrument in your pocket which can help you to determine the risk of turnover in different departments. Okay? So that's one of more statistical methods in the area of retention, to understand the nature and the factors of whether people leave or stay. Okay? Now, let's go one step further. Now let's talk about what is a retention strategy. Now the question really is, you can think about this question really in practice. Imagine there is a company out there telling you, we have a retention issue. We constantly lose our best people, and that's a pain. We have to solve this problem. We have to deal strategically with retention. What would you do? I mean, really, that's a real issue. And I know a lot of HR directors out there. They tell me, well, okay, we have a couple of issues. How do we get the best people on board? How can we develop our best people? And things like this. But they always will say, one of our issues is to retain the best people in the company. So we have an issue there. We have a significant turnover rate. Now, what can we do? I mean, you could say, yeah, let's increase salary. Or give every employee a company car. That's it. Or, yeah, you have to improve the workplace. We have to do something that people become friends. Yeah, and then I mean, what would you say? If you act as a professional, you would never recommend things like this instantly. Yeah. As professional, you would act differently. Yeah, and I want you to take home that there is a kind of a structure behind. And the first thing you should do, and this is an approach which is similar to many other things, the first thing you would ask the company is, okay, you have a retention issue, you lose our best people, okay, tell me what the target group is. Is it the engineers? Is it more the young people? Is it the old people? Do we talk about the employees in specific functions? Do we talk about people in specific countries? What is the target group? What are the people we are talking about now? Yeah? Is the retention issue company-wide, or is it an issue for specific people? Maybe the key functions, Okay, so the first thing you will always do is to narrow down the target group. Okay, what is the relevant internal target group? Now let's imagine we talk about the high potential employees, right? The 5 to 10% of the employees which really are strong, which really have significant potential to grow. Now let's consider this for a moment as the target group. Okay. The next question which I would ask the company is, okay, now we understood high potentials are your target group in this matter. What's the problem? I would always start asking, what is the problem? Okay, and you can tell the problem based on the turnover rate. I would ask, okay, well, how's the turnover rate with your high potentials? And to what costs does the turnover lead? Okay, understanding the problem. I mean, that's good. Okay, then the next step which I would undertake is I would like to understand the reasons why people leave, the causes. Maybe we do exit interviews. Maybe we do this multiple regression analysis only with the high potentials, right? I'd like to understand what are the reasons why people stay, what are the reasons why people leave. We still haven't found any solution. It's still about understanding what's the problem and why is the problem there. And again, this approach is similar for many other issues. Yeah? For those people who are in our student consulting group, IB Consulting, I mean, you might have learned this already, that whenever you deal with a problem out there, you start first with understanding the problem. Okay. Target group, problem, causes. And then we try to understand the future risk. Okay, we have a problem. How will be the problem? How might be the problem in the future? So we try to anticipate turnover. And we would try to anticipate what is the impact of future turnover. Right? How is the likelihood of employees leaving the company in the future? I'd like to understand this. Yeah? I'm going to talk about this in a minute in more detail. And then coming from there, I would start thinking about very concrete measures, and I will talk about this as well in a minute. So now let's get back to this point, to the risk. Okay, and for this I have prepared a picture. What you see here, it's very simplified. Yeah, is a kind of hierarchy as you can find it in many companies. Yeah, you have this hierarchical structure with the boss on the top, and then the different department heads, team leads, and the teams. Now, what I've indicated here is we have people, which are the circles, right? We have people with a strong intention to leave. Now let's think a little bit in black and white. Okay. We have people with a strong intention to leave. These are the red dots, and we have employees without intention to leave. These are those who intend to stay. Okay. Now, if you look at this picture, what would you say? Where is the problem? Where is the problem? Where in the organization is the problem located? Yeah. Have any ideas? Please.
Well, I don't know whether there's just a single problem, but just looking at those cases where, like, all employees of a certain unit want to leave, I'd say that there's a problem within the unit, maybe with the boss or whatever.
Wonderful. Yeah. Exactly. So the point is, in some cases, turnover is a kind of individual thing. Here's Bernd. Yeah, he has intention to leave. Okay. But this is individual. While here on the right-hand side, I mean, here the entire team intends to leave. Then I would not see this as an individual problem of this individual. I would see this as a team problem. Maybe the team lead is not the best manager in the world, so to speak. Or when we look at this entire unit here, yeah, this entire department, I mean, we have a majority of people who intend to leave, right? So in that case, I would say the main issue is with the boss of this department. Okay, this would be my conclusion. While here, it's a more individual thing. It could also be more extreme in a sense that the entire organization has an issue. Okay. So what I want you to take home from this very simple exercise is that whenever we talk about retention issues, we must understand whether the retention issue is an individual thing, whether it's something that is about leadership, management, yeah, team level, department level, or whether the retention issue is something that relates to the entire organization. In practice, we will find that we have some areas where there is a strong retention issue and some other areas we don't have any retention issues. We find that with some target groups we really have a retention issue, with some others we don't have a retention issue at all. So the point here is really to isolate where is the risk. Is it about the individual, the teams, the department, the organization? Okay? That's crucial. I mean, a picture like this tells us that it would not make sense to increase salary for all people. I mean, you would try to solve a problem where a problem does not exist. Yeah. I would rather talk to this manager and say something must be wrong in your department, and I would not talk to this manager. Yeah, I would talk to this manager and say there is a problem in the entire department. So what's wrong with the department, not with the individuals? Okay, so this is crucial that you understand this. Problems are on different levels. That's very simplified. Okay. So that leads to this idea that problems with retention are on different levels: employee level, individual, manager level, organizational level. What can we do to understand the causes, why people stay, why people leave? On organization level, I would do something like an employee survey. Yeah, what is the problem? Yeah. Why are the people not committed to the company? Yeah, I would do something like exit interviews. I would do something like regression analysis, as I pointed out earlier. While on individual level, I would do something like performance management. Talk to the people, talk to the individuals. Okay, I found out that Bernd has an intention to leave, so let's talk with Bernd and understand his turnover decision style. You remember. Is it that you want to escape? Is it that you have a clear strategy? What's behind your intention to leave? And then try to find individual measures. When we look at the risks on organizational level, I would look at the differentiated turnover rate as we have discussed. I would look at, okay, how is turnover with your key functions? How is your turnover with the target groups which we have identified? Yeah. On manager level, I would simply look at the turnover rate in the department of the manager. Yeah. On individual level, we talked about this. I would look at the individual risk of turnover. Do you intend to leave? Yeah. Is there a breakdown of performance and all these different behaviors which we have discussed? And now, and this to me is the most important thing on this picture, really, is the column on the right hand side. When we talk about concrete measures. Yeah. Now we are in a situation, we have understood the causes, we have understood the risk, and we have understood on which level we should solve the problem. And now here are the things which we really can do. If we understood that retention issue is a company-wide issue, I would look at how can we improve employer attractiveness as a whole, really. I mean, that's a lot. That's huge. We would talk about things like flexible working hours to increase work-life balance, maybe. We would do an entire leadership development program in order to increase the quality of leadership in the entire organization. I mean, that's always huge. Solving a retention issue on organization level, that's always a big project. When we learned that retention issue is an issue that relates very much to individual managers, I deal with the managers. I try to solve the problem with the managers, with individual managers. And here I would do something like development. If I find that in a specific department, led by a specific manager, if I find that turnover rate is very high in this department, I would try to train this manager. Okay? Put him in a training, help him to increase his leadership quality. I would select managers accordingly. If retention is high, if turnover is high in a department constantly, maybe we have the wrong manager. Select another. Yeah? Kick the actual manager out. Yeah? That could be a solution. Coaching, replacement, as I said, objective setting. Yeah? I talk to a manager saying, well, you have a high turnover risk in your department. What are the goals in the next 12 months? Where do you want to get better? Yeah? Which turnover rate do you want to achieve in the next 2-3 years in your department? And on individual level, thinking about new projects, new tasks, yeah, talking about really focused measures, increasing salary maybe, changing the task, looking at what can be your perspective in the company, and so on. So there's a huge variety. Okay? So, hope that's clear. We talked about a lot in this context of retention. Yeah, here is the list of key terms and concepts, yeah, which you should have understood more or less now.